Hey, this is Ross with RocketBrand, and I'm here with a brief review of Pix.io, which is a digital asset management system that we've chosen to use for our agency to manage our content. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I've learned about Pix.io, why I like it, and why I think it's a good solution when you compare it to some of the other options out there. So first things first, Pix.io Digital Asset Manager is a system that you can use to group and organize large quantities of media. If you're in the agency or media business, you may be familiar with this already. For those who aren't, it's basically a database that layers on top of or behind your files and folders. So it lets you search your files and folders in much more detailed ways than just a normal file or folder manager like Google Drive would. So in addition to being able to browse your traditional folder structure, you can use keyword tagging to be able to see things across multiple folders and group them in different ways via manual or automatic tagging. And then in this system, there's keyword tagging and there's also label tagging. And so that gives you kind of two different ways that you can organize and group your photos and video files. So Pix.io, there's a lot of different digital asset management systems out there. One thing that we really liked about Pix.io is that it integrates and is really built all around Google Drive. And so if you're a Google Drive user, you know and love their unlimited storage. And so Pix.io really leverages this so that you can have a lot of assets with no additional fees. And so Pix.io gives unlimited storage, just like Google Drive. So that was definitely one of our main selling points when we chose to use it. So basically, Pix.io works well. It seems to do most of the major functions that you would expect out of digital asset management. For instance, you can convert files. If I have a raw file right here, I can download it and convert it into a JPEG or PNG. I can change the resolution and sizing to whatever format or medium that I need it, which is a really common thing for a user of my DAM to need to do. And so it's very intuitive, and the fact is it really just looks like it was built to live with Google Drive. So as you can see, very similar to kind of how you would expect for users of Lightroom. Has all the same variables, values, star system, flagging system, color system, keywords, and to make it even a little bit better, it is also now adopted. If I can find it, I probably picked the wrong photo. Let's see. There we go. Just trying to find my map. So it actually does have a map feature as well, though apparently I have too many variables to scroll all the way down fast enough. There we go. I should have probably minimized that, but you do get a nice mapping feature as well. That would have probably been the easier way to do that. And now I can see where these photos lay on the map, which is really great if you have GPS photos. So, some drawbacks to Pix.io. If you are not ready to have someone else have access to your Google Drive, that may be a deal breaker for you. You do have to connect your Google Drive to Pix.io via a third-party API connection, and you do have to give them permission to modify. And so if that's an issue for you, then you may have to figure that out. And it is best practice that you actually make a separate email address to be the owner of these files. So we have some other videos as far as best practice on how to import files safely to the digital asset management system without any risk to your existing files. So I would recommend being careful and importing your files carefully, and luckily Google Drive gives you unlimited storage, so there's no cost to that other than time to create some copies. So there are a lot of great features that I probably don't have time to go into, but I've really liked the basics of how it works. It's pretty much functional um, in the ways that you would expect, and the pricing is really great. So again, Pix.io is a good choice for people who have built their architecture out of Google Drive, and it's great if you're already paying for cloud storage to know that you don't have to pay for it twice. That was the big decision for us against some of the other offerings, like for instance Lightroom, which really is very punitive in terms of storing assets in the cloud. It's very expensive, and it also doesn't really work well for sharing. Whereas Pix.io right here is really easy to add a team. I can have members with different levels of permission. I can set different roles and really get into lots of different control levels where I can give people the ability to do some things and not others. For instance, my members can't delete anything. Only the admins can delete. So it's pretty great. You can set little policies, keywords. This is a nice feature that they've added to basically automatically run their AI keyword tagging on anything that's imported. It does cost a little bit of money, but that's something that you can do. And you can set also the keywords so that basically it's set to a certain number of keywords so you don't get an explosion. So there's a lot of great features, and their roadmap at Pix.io has hopefully a lot more to come. One other thing that I would definitely recommend Pix.io for is there's great support. I've been super impressed by their support staff. I haven't needed it a lot lately, but when I was importing my library, there's some headaches that come with putting several terabytes into a new system. So I did occasionally have to have support, and honestly, they were super cool. Anytime I wanted, I could start a conversation with them, and as you can tell, I can't talk and type at the same time. So who knows what they'll say to that, but they usually respond extremely quickly. Under 5 minutes has definitely been my response, and the team has been great. You don't usually know who's going to respond, but I always get a qualified response, and my issues have been solved really quickly. And honestly, I haven't had any issues for a long time. But it's great to know that I have access to the development team if I do ever run into an issue. So again, I would highly recommend Pix.io. We've been using it for a couple months now, and we've been really loving it. The pricing is really reasonable, and the services are great. The service is extremely good. So again, if you have any questions, comments, drop a comment below, and we look forward to your feedback.